All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to HiBruiNation, the unofficial home of your Boston Bruins. I'm Goosey. Joined with me, as always, is my co-host in the Chabo. We are without Mr. Hatrick tonight. He is celebrating his sister's birthday, so happy birthday to Mr. Hatrick's sister, whose name unfortunately escapes me. Jack, please don't yell at me. We will remedy that at some point. But happiest of birthdays to the sister of Mr. Hatrick. We got a good show for you guys tonight. We're going to talk about Zdeno Chara's jersey retirement, the Bruins' current home stretch, plus the Chicago game. Andersson to Vegas and our thoughts on what that means for the Boston Bruins moving forward, some prospect updates. We'll get into the Big Bad Bruin, and then we'll just do some of our future predictions for this upcoming week of games. But without further ado, Steve, how are we doing? Happy Sunday.
Good. Happy Sunday. Let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about. We have a lot to do.
I think a lot to bitch about. You think?
No.
Maybe?
No. Listen, don't get me wrong. There's quite a few things that we need to bitch about, but I think there's a lot more to talk about. It's been a pretty good week.
It's good vibes. It's good vibes, man.
Vibes are high.
Hampus Lindholm was activated off of IR, played in the Chicago game, which you were there for. So that's good news.
Yes, I was.
One of our top defensemen back. Even better news, the Patriots, for all you Patriots fans out there, are going to the AFC Championship game next Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Right? All good things, dude. And would you have guessed it? Including the Pittsburgh game last Sunday, the Bruins are 4-0-0 on the week.
Oh, who took over the leaderboards again?
Oh, respect. Fuck off. Yeah, I know. I was surprised. I didn't think the Bruins are going to beat Detroit, let alone get a shutout against Detroit. So fine, I'll take that. We'll talk about the games as we progress, as we always do. But it's a good week. You're right. Maybe there isn't much to bitch about. There's only one thing to bitch about for me. But that's fine.
I got a couple.
We'll get into that.
You got a couple.
You got it on the docket.
I do. You're damn right I do.
Well, I think there is no better way to start the discussion off tonight than with Zdeno Chara. I really think we should get that out of the way and really talk about all of that. You know what I mean? His ceremony, what that was, etc. Did you get a chance to watch it at all?
Oh, yeah. I didn't get to watch that game because it wasn't being shown on ESPN for whatever reason. I tried finding it. They showed the ceremony, but they didn't show the game for me, which whatever. I was kind of pissed about, but I ended up watching highlights of it and kept up with it on ESPN app and did that. But I watched the retirement. There was no way that I was going to miss watching, correct me if I'm wrong, but like in my lifetime, like I was too young when they retired Ray Bork's number and put it in the rafters. Yep. Like that was what, 01, 02, maybe. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I was basically in first grade, right? But this is legit the first one that I actually remember seeing as like, a conscious, Bruins fan that's into it. So there was no way in hell I'm missing Big Z's, number going on the rafters. That was a big deal for me personally. Obviously I went to the game yesterday, and of course, what jersey am I wearing? Chara. 2010 Winter Classic Chara. Like, you know what I mean? That's the jersey I go to. Baby. Like there's no way. We just retired his number. It felt right. It felt good.
And people know this. He signed with the team on July 1st, 2006. That's where it all began. And it was emotional for me because Chara, Bergeron, and Marchand were the key reasons I found hockey as a love again. And just Chara as a hockey player was phenomenal. Chara, the individual, it's hard to find comparisons, right? It wasn't just the fact that he was a great hockey player. He brought the cup back to Boston. He came here with the goal in doing so. It was everything about him that screamed what you would want in a leader, not just in a hockey team, but maybe as a friend, a boss. And, you even see it with his children, a father. He's just an admirable individual that I just constantly looked up to, literally and figuratively. The guy is 6'9", I'm 6'2", so now he's opening. But it's just something that, you have to recognize that he didn't just bring his hockey game here. He brought his entire personality to the city, even similar to, I would say, Big Papi, the way Big Papi handled it.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. I mean, Zdeno Chara, the human being, is a stand-up dude. There's no way around it, right? I mean, riding his bikes to the games, and kids on the street going up to him and asking him autograph while he's at a red light on his bike, and he's giving out autographs, right? Like, he's just a stand-up dude. And like you said, just he's someone that you want to be, a friend with, right? He seems like a dude that will hold you accountable, help guide you, help make you grow, right? And we've seen that with how many Boston Bruins, right? I mean, he turned the Rat into a stand-up dude that everyone hated in the league, and now everyone loves in the league, right? I mean, it's just one of those things where, like, the proof is in the pudding, and he's just that guy, right? I mean, he's obviously a super intelligent human being. He's athletically gifted and just an all-around good dude, right? I mean, what more do you want?
Another Stanley Cup, but that's besides the point. Like, don't we all? But it was a lot of things that Andrew Ferentz hosted it, which I thought was nice. I mean, and the things that Ferentz said about Chara were just, spectacular. The joke about, like, he was fighting a wild bear, like, wrestling that. I can't remember it exactly, but it had me laughing. It's because it's true. He's just a big guy. He started his career late in terms of hockey standards, like very late. I think even David Backes too was another person that it embodied that same storyline. Described him for his work ethic. It was just everything. And, going down from Z's big moments and into Z's speech. Especially, I did find it funny. The second Z mentioned Don Sweeney, the boos reigned, and he just looks up and goes, "Hey." Like,
and it went quiet.
Like, and it went quiet. It's like, okay, so we're not supposed to boo that. Like, the big Russian gets mad, you stop.
He's not Russian. Be nice.
Sure. Oh, he's Czech. He is. He's Czech.
Yeah, he's Czech.
Yeah. Sorry.
But also, my favorite part about the speech is when they mentioned the Jacobs family and all the boos going off of that. I'm like, oh yes, I'm not alone. I get it. Like, you're not supposed to boo the owners, but, like, our ownership, I got issues with. Listen, the ownership goes back to my dad's dad, right? Like, when he was around, he was still making the same stupid ass choices, and the ownership has been questionable for the past 50 something years. So, rightfully so. The fans of the Bruins booed the Jacobs family. So, maybe that's a message for him. And you know what? Jacobs laughed. When everyone started booing, they showed him he was laughing too. I mean, you get what you get.
Good spirit. Take it with a grain of salt, because they know they're still getting your money, so it doesn't matter anyway. Whichever way you spend it, they're still getting your money. They're laughing their asses all the way to the bank. So as you guys boo them, you guys are also sitting in the seats that you paid for, that gave them the money. So I don't know what you're laughing at, like booing
Suckers,
them for.
right?
That's crazy. Yep. It's crazy. Man. It was cool too to see, like, all the like the former retirees, like, in terms of the jersey numbers that are up there too, and the few that couldn't make it, obviously either they passed away or they had, like, they just physically could not be there. It was just really cool to see, and just the legacy that is going to be left behind, not only by Chara, but if you look at the people that needed him, it's just the history of Boston is just phenomenal. I do have to ask you, out of your entire career, time of watching Chara while he was in Boston, because I think we were both around 12 years of age in 2006 when he signed. So if you had to name one of your favorite moments that Z did while he was here, what would it be? Could be even after his 10 years of Bruin.
Okay. My favorite thing about when I was watching Zdeno Chara was the fact that the league had to institute the boarding, like the rubber mats around the open
Oh God.
parts around the benches and such because
Are
Zdeno
you
Chara
about to
missed
bring up the
it.
patch ready hit?
Yeah,
You
that's my favorite thing.
Oh my God,
He
that was
literally
your
had,
favorite moment?
yeah, he changed league policy because he hit Pacioretty so hard and almost killed him. So I'm okay with it. That's my favorite moment
You're
because
big on the you're big on the controversial topics, aren't you? Because that was like wild. He's wildly hated for that.
I know, but that's why I love it because I'm a Boston Bruins fan. The rest of the league can go pound sand. Sorry, I love it. I'm here for the controversy.
Steve's unapologetically truthful. All right, at least you can get that out of you, man. Holy crap.
Yep.
So, all right, Rick might not like that one. So if Rick ever watches back and listens to this, Rick is just going to be like, "We're firing Steve. we got to let him go."
That's
Wow,
fine.
that was it, huh? Mine was the ballerina.
Okay, that was a good
Mine was
one.
the ballerina dance.
Listen, he's
I
had a
mean,
lot
it
of good
just
moments.
it's well, he has the hardest. You could mention the hardest shot, the
Hmm.
roar he made when he lifted the cup. There's just a whole bunch of stuff. Like, that picture, I can't remember of who the Columbus Blue Jacket player is off the top of my head, but that picture of it, people used to think that it was photoshopped, and no, it's like that's just real. The angle just made it look like Chara was this massive animal,
Hmm.
comparatively speaking. You know what I mean? And it is. It's something. The moments have been absolutely spectacular, and it was great to see him, finally reach the rafters.
Yeah,
Um, and it's not to take away from Chara's moment, but you got to wonder if Bergeron's next. Got to wonder.
I thought the same thing. Right, and you
Yeah.
know what? Two things on this. Right, you mentioned legacy earlier, right? Um, how he came. He was like, "Oh, what number do you want?" He was like, "I want 3." Well, oh, sorry, that number's retired. It's in the rafters. All right, cool. I'll do 33. Right. That's kind of like remind me of Ray Bork, right?
Yep.
When he had 7 for a while, and then they were retiring, and then came out, took off the jersey, rocking the double sevens, and kind of did that. It's very, I feel like that's very like core, like Boston type stuff, right? And it's just the part of the legacy. Like 2 players have done that now, and stuff like that. But when you think about it, honestly, I think there's going to be 2 more guys that are going into the rafter soon. 2 more guys. Uh, you got Patrice Bergeron and you
Yep.
got David Krejci. I
Krejci's
think
a hot take. We'll have to discuss Krejci another time on that one because I'm gonna contest you on that. Maybe not Kretsch.
really,
I don't think
really
Krejci is there.
okay.
I don't think Krejci is there. But Bergeron, I'm with you on. We'll have to debate this another time. But another thing to note for the number 33, and even Chara said it himself, is that he didn't even realize that it was Larry Bird, Jason Varitek, like, these
Mhm.
other Boston icons. And again, he completely admitted that it was on accident, but now he's one of those guys that number is always going to represent. And
Yeah,
it's something spectacular
it
to be
isn't
a
it
part of.
crazy that the number 33 is retired in 3 out of the 4 major sports in Boston.
Mm-hmm. Think
That's
about
kind of
that.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy, you know.
All good things, man. All good things.
Thanks.
Uh, um, the Bruins home stretch. They had another 5-game homestand post their road trip. And this time they actually took advantage. They kicked wholesale ass. In fact, they kicked wholesale ass.
Wholesale ass. Everyone gets a discount.
Wholesale ass. Everybody's ass. Everybody's ass in that thing. Since December 31st, Steve, they are 8-1-0 since basically turning over the new year. Think about that. 8-1-0.
Mhm.
That is awesome.
It's pretty hot. It's a hot team.
Yep.
It's a hot team.
Swayman is playing out of his mind,
Yep.
he had one bad game. And I think that was Seattle. He let up 6. I can't remember specifically. I think that was it. And then Corby's also played very well. You have your goaltenders are playing extremely well. The offense is scoring goals.
Yep.
And then, you still have your questions are on defense. But we should not take away the fact right now that the Bruins, just out of innocence, this past week, Pittsburgh was a 1-0 win, nothing burger. Both teams are playing at the end of a back-to-back. Whatever, right? Glad you come out of the win.
It's not necessarily whatever, though. This team is finding ways to win, right?
Sure.
Which is important. When you're down on the points and in the standings, when you're looking at it, you got to find a way to get some wins. You got to get some points. And albeit that Pittsburgh game was hella ugly, it was hella boring, but they came away with a 1-0 dub. So they're finding ways to win, and that's what's important, even on the latter half of back to back. And that's that's why it's important to keep stacking some wins where you can get them.
And then they pivot to Detroit, a game that Jack and I had and thought that they were going to lose because Detroit is red hot. It's a reasonable assumption.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bruins are hot and cold, like we discussed before. They go and kick their ass 3-0. Mm-hmm. And I thought that they dominated that team. I thought they went and took it to Detroit.
I think they did too. And to be fair, Detroit's coming off a back-to-back as well, right? Like that was the second half for it. But again, the thing that's important to remember is you got to find wins and you got to take some points away, especially from a team that you're competing with for a playoff spot. You got to figure out how to get some wins and take away points from teams that you're going to either see in the hunt for the playoffs or you're going to see in the playoffs, right? Yeah. It's so that game was very, very important to get some wins or get some points out of.
I actually want to give a ton of respect towards Cam Talbot. At his age, and what he's doing is really good. I would not pin that loss on Cam Talbot. You know what I mean? If I'm Detroit, I want to just give that credit to him because I can admire good goaltending. I can admire when your goalie is keeping you in it and the game just isn't going your way. The Bruins had to fight to win that game, and they did. In my way, convincingly. So I just want to give Cam Talbot some credit that he did a lot in that game at his age to keep them in there. So kudos to him. And then Seattle. We pivot to Seattle. Thursday. 4-2 win. But it didn't happen until later on in the game where it became 4-2. Like, we had to struggle to get that empty netter. And for whatever reason, our penalty kill really sucks against Seattle.
Yeah. I think the penalty kill. All right. The hottest take here is the reason why our penalty kill is dwindling down in percentage is because we're on it so effing much. Thanks, Zadorov. It's one of those things where there's so much game tape and so much footage of the Boston Bruins on a PK that other teams are developing ways to work around it. You know what I mean? Like when you think about it, the special teams of it, when you're doing walkthroughs, you're still doing the walkthroughs, and they're still talking about what formations you're going to see, how they're playing it, who's pinching where, who's staying put. Those are all the things that the coaches are doing to try to win hockey games, right? They're trying to put their best people out there, and if you get some mismatches against some smaller defensemen or smaller wingers, whatever it be, right? They can make them pay. And so I'm not surprised that the Bruins penalty kill is slipping a little bit.
For sure. I'm with you. The Bruins take way too many penalties. I just find it convenient that every time we played against Seattle, they've found ways to capitalize on the power play against us. And it's kind of bad, dude. Like, it's something that you just kind of look at. Like, it's like the Bruins go up, then, Seattle ties it on the power play. The only 2 goals they scored that game were on the power play. So, I mean, that's my only knock I would have to that game that I could reasonably see. I actually watched it on Saturday. Not Saturday, I'm sorry, Friday. I watched the recording of it because on Thursdays it's difficult to me to watch Bruins games. I mean, it's a win, right? That game reminded me more of like the Pittsburgh game where you had to find a way to win a game and then you did it.
Mhm.
I just genuinely wish, you didn't miss as many empty net opportunities as you did that game. Like, you gotta find a way to put one away out before they come back the other way and score on you. And then you're just hanging your head over the bench, just wondering how you couldn't do it.
Yep. Sometimes you need an empty net to seal the game.
100%.
That's
100%.
that's
Goal. Hey,
kind
a
of
goal is a goal.
it is.
Goal is a goal, man. Even if it falls out of the back of the goaltender's pad into the net. That happened. Mike Smith.
Stats don't care. They're just numbers.
Exactly.
It's just it's one of those things. I mean, even now I'm transitioning to the Chicago game. Even the Chicago game, last 5 minutes or so, they had empty nets, and we were struggling to get any shots on. You know what I mean? I don't know what the deal is on why we're struggling real hard to get some empty netter goals. My personal feeling is like, hey, get Geeky out there. He's been at 25 for how long? Just give him an empty netter to try to get him onto 26 and break the ice and get him started up again. Build some of his momentum back up.
Yeah, I watched the Chicago game and I just watched the first period of it, and I'm like, you're dominating, you're not scoring, and Chicago puts two up on you pretty easily. I'd say like it was a little soft. I would say the defense in that game that led to the two goals, and then they come out in the second period. They don't look back. They start pumping them.
Yep.
And I think that's the response you need.
That's the response you need. It's just for me, it was very frustrating sitting there, right? You're obviously down 2-0 going into the second off of soft goals, which I genuinely didn't feel like we were dominating them or we were getting dominated. I thought that we had some great opportunities in the first to score something, and just kind of separate the game from us. I mean, we got more shots than them, but it doesn't really matter because shots don't win games necessarily. You need goals to win games. And if you're getting nothing by, it's just one of those things. And it was a battle of the backups. Soderblom wasn't. Let's face it, he isn't that good of a goalie. And all respect to him, but he's just not. It is what it is. He's a backup, and he lets in a lot of goals, a lot of sloppy goals. And what's infuriating to me is that it took a while for the Bruins to get going when all you really needed to do is test that goalie a little bit better, and you're gonna get some. Right, like that's kind of what the second period was like. They finally just started generating some shots and kind of opening up the middle of the ice. I noticed they were doing a lot of they weren't pushing it towards the outside to the boards. I noticed that a lot of the plays were funneled into the middle to try to get across into the attacking zone, and then funneling them out to get a pass to the boards, and then someone crashed the net and get a shot off. Right, that's what I kind of saw develop throughout the second period and the third period. But I feel like once you started testing these guys and started breaking their defense down a little bit, things started working out.
Chicago definitely had a hard time chasing the puck around. I think the Bruins just were winning battles constantly, and the Blackhawks just looked a little bit more gassed. I mean, it was a cool thing. I mean, you got to see the Blackhawks Centennial game in Chicago, so that must have been very cool to see. I know there were some malfunctions I've heard, with the equipment. So it's just like that's a little embarrassing. Like you gotta test that stuff very thoroughly. Boston didn't have it. Just saying, Chicago, get better. You suck. And then they'll come back and be like, "Oh, 17 seconds, you guys lost the cup." Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, whatever, dude. Like
the amount of times I heard that yesterday, unbelievable.
Yeah, like way to live in the past, buddy. Like Taze and Kane aren't even on your team anymore. Neither is Keith. Like you I don't even think you have a single person from that team on there anymore.
You know what? It was cool to see all those old school guys, from like 2013, 2015, 2010. They were in the building.
I'd imagine.
It was cool to see. There's a Q&A. It was pretty fun to go to. Like it was just an experience. Like as a guy who loves hockey in general, even though it's not my team, It was fun to experience and go there. They gave out to a limited amount of Duncan Keith bobbleheads for the Centennial game. Obviously, being a Bruins fan, I don't need one of those. And a season ticket holder, I don't know his name, got there late, didn't get a bobblehead, and you saw that we had 5 because there was 5 of us because there was 5 tickets, and we all went together. He's like, would you be interested in selling one of those? I'm like, hell yeah, you come to the right guy. I don't need one. Made a quick some pocket change off of it, and another happy fan. There you go. So it worked out. It was a cool little experience though. I'm gonna put this on the record. I've been to the Madhouse a few times, and that was probably the quietest I've ever heard the Madhouse. Last year, it was way louder during the game, way louder.
Interesting.
And it was just kind of real quiet, even in the beginning. Like when they were up 2-0, it was quiet.
Do you ever wonder if they got the feeling that this was not going to last? Like, you know what I mean? If you're looking at like, you're up 2-0, but this team and it still has some work that needs to be done, and they had trouble closing out games. Maybe like, do you feel like, we'll believe it when we see it? I just don't understand though. You're there for the Centennial game. And
you gotta show up.
I would expect, huh?
As a fan, you gotta show up, scream, get loud.
Yeah, scream, get loud.
It's a Centennial game, right? Like you've been around 100 years.
Yeah.
How many people actually get to go to the Centennial game?
I went to a Boston-Montreal game.
Yeah.
I went to the Boston-Montreal Centennial game, I believe, like last year. I can't remember what year it was for the life of me. The years go by when you get point. Yeah. And so I was there for that. And like the Garden was a roar fest. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're an original 6 team. So like you got to think about it. Yeah, you kind of want your fans to show up there. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not even a Chicago Blackhawks fan. And if it was against any other team, I would still go and I'd be like, let's get rowdy because like it's hockey, baby. Like, you know what I mean? Just get going. And it's an original 6 team. I am loyal to the Bruins, but like, I'll go to a venue, and so long as my team isn't playing you, if we're gonna get rowdy, let's get rowdy. I'm a vibes guy. That's what I'll do. Yeah. That's awesome, Steve. No, I mean, the Bruins took control. They win the game 5-2. Lohrei has 2 goals, and I know you have a lot to probably say about him, and we'll get to that when we talk about the other defensemen. You knew they were looking for him for the hat trick. You had to have figured.
Mm-hmm.
And it is unfortunate that he could not get it. I always root for it. Kid, I think that would have been his first career hat trick. I was rooting for it. But he couldn't get it. Bruins win 5-2. Bruins go 4-0 that past week, including the Pittsburgh game, because we didn't talk about it last week. And they're 8-1-0 so far to start this new year. So it seems like a new year, new team. We'll see how well it stays or does not stay, or either progresses or regresses. I want to move on to my favorite topic. And we're going to say, and it's not the prospects, because I want to say the prospects for last.
Okay. Let's do it.
The Bruins, and I want everyone who's listening, I want you to understand this. The Bruins have a hole the size of the United States, perhaps even bigger, at the right defensive position. And they missed out on Rasmus Andersson. Now I get it. Hold on. Before you even go, I get it. Mm-hmm. The original proposed offer that the Bruins had made to acquire Andersson was the 2026 Toronto first round pick, Matty Patra, and Mason Lohrei. Just for Rasmus Andersson, supposedly an extension. Something about that fell through, and it was probably because Andersson wanted to go to Vegas, which is fine. A player has his right to choose. I don't begrudge him for that. But then you got to look at what the package for Vegas gave up. It was a 2027 first, which is what I would have preferred if you're going to give a first.
Mm-hmm.
A 2028 second that can convert to a first if Vegas wins the cup. Zach Whitecloud and a defensive prospect. No extension. Let's be real, guys, and Bruins fans. You missed out. You missed out on him. and we'll discuss. We're going to discuss this in great length too. We're going to dive it down from, why Rasmus Andersson would have been a massive impact, or maybe Steve doesn't believe he would have. I'm on the belief that he would have. And, we're going to talk about like the package that the Bruins offered as a whole. We're going to do a deep dive into it, but I need people to understand like the Bruins have a problem at the right defensive spot, and why addressing that now would have been more ideal than addressing it at the draft. Steve, you go ahead. I've spoken enough on it. I'm getting myself flustered.
All right, let's be clear. Like, yeah, the Bruins missed out on it, but am I mad about it? No. And the reason why I'm not mad about it is because I would have been okay with giving up the 20, what was it? Whatever you just mentioned, Lori, Patra, and whatever first round, 26, whatever it was, pick with an extension for Andersson, right? It all hinges on the extension, in my opinion, because you're getting a top pairing right defenseman to bolster your right defense for the second pairing, which, in my opinion, if you go ahead and get Andersson, your top 4 defensive core instantly becomes probably top 5 in the league. Way better. I would say top 5 in the league. Right?
I don't know if I'll go that far, but fine, I'll listen to it.
I'm gonna elaborate on why I think that. When Lindholm is healthy, and when Charlie McAvoy is playing his style of game, and when Zadorov stays out of the penalty box, then you add a guy with that type of talent, your first 2 pairings instantly become lockdown. And when you add that to the third pairing too, our third pairing is pretty locked down. They know what they're doing. I've become a real big fan of our third pairing on defense. I think if we had that one hole, so to say, filled, we'd get a lot more better pairings and a lot more offensive and defensive output from those pairings, right? Do I think Vegas overpaid for this guy? Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Not even close.
And they didn't even
failed to mention one thing. Vegas did get Andersson at 50% retention, but whatever. So I got to be honest with you. That's not really that big. That with what they paid for him, you gave up Zach Whitecloud, who's I think 27. You give up a first, potentially another first if they win the cup, and then another defensive prospect. I mean, you did overpay, and you don't. And it's an overpay right now because you don't have the extension in place. I just wanted to mention that. Sorry, Steve. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. Everything about that deal hinged for me on the extension, because I don't want to go and give up our assets for a guy who's not going to be locked down for a few years here, right? Especially when you're thinking about, okay, how long Charlie McAvoy's contract is, right? How long Zadorov's contract is. It's those things where we're trying to rebuild things, right? In locking down defensive talent at our top 4, right? Our top 2 pairings, that will help bolster our roster for a rebuild or potential contention for next season, right? That's the impact that I'm trying to get in place here, because now we missed out, and who's left? Who's left at who can name? I want to challenge any of the listeners to name one guy that the Bruins can realistically get that will make that much of an impact at RD2.
That is available. No,
that's available. Exactly. That's available.
Knowingly, by the way.
I know.
Keyword also being 2 keywords: knowingly available. Because now the only other right-handed defenseman is Justin Falk. That the St. Louis Blues are obviously willing to move. Guess how much he makes? North of $6 million. All set. You also have to think about the affordability of it, because with Andersson, you didn't need to move out that much money. You could have moved out Lowry. Boom. Done deal. Right there. And I'm with you, Steve, to say I'm not mad that the Bruins not get an extension, which seems like that was the case. but that doesn't mean you didn't miss out.
Yes.
Vegas overpaid. Why I think the package is fine and made sense is because Calgary has no centers. They need centers. Their two biggest centers right now are 35 plus years old in Nazem Kadri and I believe it's Michael Backlund. So they're old as shit. So the trade made sense for both teams, and Lowry is a defensive liability. And for anyone who out there who says that 2-goal performance was enough to convince you otherwise, you are smoking some pipe.
Can I interject here real quick while you just brought that up, because that's my favorite point?
Yeah.
Okay. For anyone listening who wants to sit there, oh, he just got 2 goals. Great. He has offensive capabilities. Everyone knows this. Everyone knows that this kid can pass the puck and shoot the puck. He has offensive capabilities. But guess what? That second goal was entirely his fault. The reason why we went down 2-0 is because he was running around the defensive end like a chicken with his head cut off, and he was out of position, and he lost his man twice. Okay? Lost his man twice. I was right there. I was right behind the net. I saw it live. Okay? I watched him every single play because he's such a goddamn liability. And this drives me crazy. The kid is only good in the offense. He should be out there when they're in the offensive zone. He has no business playing defense. He doesn't know how to play defense. He's a defenseman. He's a Boston Bruins defenseman that can't play defense. Riddle me it. Why can't he play defense? He just runs around, and I've said this before. Goose, you can quote me on this. I've said this before so many times.
I don't need to quote you. You're on the show. The show will quote you.
Exactly. Like you can show the transcripts of how many times I've said that he just runs around the defensive end. He does too much. He loses his man and he runs around. That's the problem with it. I've said this before. He just needs to stay put. He needs to just stay home game. He can't just be a liability like that. And that's his problem. And one game does not make up for his liabilities and lack of abilities on defense.
And I want to also add to this too. Like, people are going to say he's only 24. He has time to grow. He's also making $3.2 million for the next 2 years. And then he'll be 26, I think, by the time his contract runs out. Okay, are you going to ask for a raise at that point? You know, I would much rather have a 29-year-old Rasmus Andersson on the right side, which is a gap that we're missing, who produces better than Lowry. Sure, he's like 4 years older, but he also plays better defense than Lowry. He's an RD1 on a shitbag team that still performs decently in terms of Anderson. That still performs somewhat well. So, like, you know, you got to just understand, like, where the gaps are. You don't need Lowry making $3.2 million as your depth left defenseman. And he's soft on the puck and he's causing the turnover. And I would much rather have Jonathan Aspero back there, who, by the way, is 27 years old, 26, 27, sorry. And he's proving himself. So I was fine with moving Lowry. People were like, Lowry stock going up. I'm like, yes, of course. His stock goes up for like having those 2 goals in that game. Yeah. Just a smidge, right? Yeah. But I'm also like, we have Kolyanichuk. We have Aspero. We have Jordan Harris. And I actually like Jordan Harris better than I like Lowry. And they're of similar age. So
I can
Lowry's
agree.
expendable.
Lowry is expendable, especially after the fact that he can't play defense. When we just signed these guys who actually can play defense, it's just one of those things where, for me, I love the Aspero signing. I do. I loved watching him out there. He does a lot of things that I don't really necessarily pick up on TV, but when I'm there, I can see he does a lot of the little details well. And that's because that you know, obviously the TV is following where the puck is, not necessarily behind the play, right? There's a lot of details behind the play for positioning and all these things, and gap ups, sure, and all these things. And I really started paying attention to it yesterday when I saw him live, because I was close enough to see everything. And I saw these things. I'm like, wow, this kid can really be a third pair lockdown type guy, where you put him out there, you know he's going to put up solid defensive work and not let anything get by him. You know what I mean? That's what I saw out there. And he makes way less money than Lowry. Granted, he's not putting up points production, which is fine. because when you're on the third pair, you need to not let
I'd
in
rather you
goals.
be a shutdown D-man, yeah, at the third pair. I don't need you to be an Eric Carlson on the third line D-pair. I don't need that. What I need for my third liners is I want you to be shut down with a two-way game, of course, but I would expect, mild point production, that's fine, but for me, you're a penalty killer, you're a stay-at-home guy, and you can have some muscle on the puck. Lorei does not have that. And look, now
For the big
I just
guy,
want
he's
people to
so weak.
understand. Yeah, I just want people to understand too where your right defensive depth is right now. Your RD2 is Yoki Haru or Andrew Peak, and you're also teetering with Victor Soderstrom. Ew. So if Lorei is your expendable piece that you can use to get it, good. Get it done. That's where I'm at. And people were not so upset with Matty Poitras. Of course, Matthew Poitras has potential. But guess what, guys? We have James Hagen's coming, William Moore, Dean Lecherneau. We're so saturated at center. Poitras has become an unfortunate expendable tool that you could use to further bolster your team now.
Yep.
So the trading away of Matthew Poitras, unfortunately, made sense with what the Bruins also have in their prospect pool. Where I will agree with Bruins fans and say the 2026 pick, I would have rathered that be a 2027 Florida pick. If we had to give up a first round pick, that's where I would have done it.
I agree. That I wholeheartedly. I don't want to give any of our first round picks away for this draft. I don't. And I'm going to agree with them there. But these dumbass Bruins fans, I really can't stand them sometimes because their heads so far up their ass they can't think logically. Okay, you just explained this so well that we are oversaturated at centers. We have so many young, more promising guys coming up into the mix, right? Matty Poitras, I'm
Not to
sorry.
mention,
I love this kid. I am one of his biggest fans. I love this kid. But I said it before. He's going to be one of these guys that he's not going to make the team. He's going to kill it somewhere else. Right. I'm going to hate watching him turn into a superstar on another team. And it's exactly what's happening because we don't bring up the guys. He's an asset at this point. He's not having a great year down in Providence, but again, we've talked about this. How could you? He had such a great preseason, and he didn't make the team, so he's bummed out. But the fact is, put him in Calgary. He's just starting third line center now, starting, and he's going to work up
probably.
to a two. He's going to work up
Probably.
to a two for Calgary.
I agree with you. And people forget too, you have Elias Lindholm locked up for 7 years.
Yep.
You're not getting rid of him. I doubt you're moving away from Zacha. Hagens is probably going to sign. Yeah, Hagens is probably signing his ELC at the end of this year with his points production in the NCAA. He might spend, some time down in Providence, but I don't think it's going to be significant. They're going to work and fine tune some things with him, I would imagine. And I'm sure Bruins fans want them to be patient with him, but also if he's showing the signs, let him get the NHL experience. But the only problem I ever had with that trade was the fact that it was a 2026 Toronto pick. That was the only thing I hated about it. If they would have said would you do the 2027 Florida pick? I would feel a lot better with that. Fine. I would feel a lot better with that. And I get when Bruins fans want to say, we also want to prepare for the future because we have a low prospect pool. I get that. But you also want to be able to take advantage of the core you have now. You have Pasternak, who's turning 30. Zacha's 28. Casey Middlestad's probably not going to be on the team next season. That much I can probably tell you. You have Hampus Lindholm who's starting to get older. You have Zadorov who's starting to get a little older. Jeremy Swayman, Charlie McAvoy. You can't rebuild the team or go into a rebuild with these guys. You can't.
You shouldn't be allowed to. You have enough guys there where you have a good frame. Where if you add a couple pieces, you should be in contention. The thing that scares me the most, right? And I'm leveling with all the listeners out there. The thing that scares me most is we're not going to see David Pasternak win a Stanley Cup with the Boston Bruins. And it'd be just another waste of a career for David Pasternak to not win a Stanley Cup with the Boston Bruins. That's my biggest fear. We cannot waste this guy. He is a special talent. He is so smooth on the ice. He's a generational talent. I'm sorry.
And look where
If
you
he
got
does,
him. Look
and look
what
where you
look
got
what
him.
draft position you got him in. 25th. I think it was 25th overall.
Steal.
You got a superstar at 25th overall. Oh my God. So yes, while it's true, I would say a lot of times, I would say 90% of the time, the cup winning team has someone that was drafted in the top 10. Sure. I'll agree with that. That could be either did they draft him or did they trade for him? That's also a possibility too. But like you have a rare find in Pasternak that shows that you even in the late first rounds, that is a possibility. Bergeron drafted in the second round, Marchand drafted in the third round. You just have some of these guys. Like, you know what I mean? Like, again, those are also few and far between. I get it. But if you have an opportunity and you're Don Sweeney to make this team that much better by attempting to acquire someone that does put you in that conversation of like, can you make a deep playoff run? Because let's face it, the Bruins offense has been there. Sure,
Yep.
your expected goals for and you like, goals for percentage is not the greatest, but that has to do with how your team finishes in high danger chances. So they need a scoring winger. Fine. That's another hole. But ultimately, your
A
top
scoring winger is such an easy hole to fill. A scoring winger,
an easier hole to fill.
but there are so many scoring wingers out there that we can get and make
More
some
than
shifts.
right-handed defensemen.
More than right-handed defensemen. That's an easy hole to fill. I'm sorry. Like, you need a solid RD2 to make this team contend.
Allow me to clarify for us too, Steve. When we say an easy hole to fill, we mean with respect to this market, like right now.
Yeah.
There are a lot more teams willing to trade their wingers than defensemen right now. That is just that's it. That's the truth behind it. And we are top 10 in almost every category in terms of offense, in terms of goals for per game. Like we're there. We're scoring the goals. The issue is the defense is not there, but the goaltending, the defense is the biggest gap right now. So forgive me, Bruins fans out there that disagree with me, that say Rasmus Andersson was not it. I disagree with you. I think he was one of the best suitors, because then now what are you going to do? Go get Justin Falk, 33 years old, $6.2 million. You're going to bitch about that all the way to Sunday if Don Sweeney pulls that off and doesn't get retention. You will bitch your way to the Garden if he ever does that. So Andersson, unfortunately, whether you like it or not, was one of the most optimal choices that we know is currently available. Now, this can change come the deadline, but as of right now, you missed. You missed.
And you know what? I don't even think it's the Boston Bruins' fault. I don't think, what? I can't stand Don Sweeney. I don't think that it's Don Sweeney's or the Boston Bruins' fault on why they missed out on this.
No, I think it's
Andersson.
I think Andersson wanted to go to Vegas. He made that explicitly clear, I think, over the summer. But there's no harm in trying. And I think I agree with Don, and I agree with everyone else that says, glad we didn't get him because he didn't want the extension. 100% with you on there. Yep. Because if Don Sweeney would have pulled that trigger without an extension, trust me, I can tell you right now, that's a rental. He's going to Vegas at the summer. I 100% agree with you. But I'm just saying, if he was willing to sign that extension and you're saying, oh, that was an overpay by Boston or Boston didn't really need to do it, kick rocks because you're wrong.
Yep. We needed to do something. We need to do something. Like that's
and
straight up. We need to do something.
Yeah. And I'm just going to be unapologetically honest with that. You have to admit that there's a hole at right D. And then let's just hypothetical. I want to run the hypothetical. You get Andersson. Now you can decide between Peak or Yoki Haru. Trade one. Get some value back for it. Because you're not going to carry both of those into the playoffs. No. There's no reason for you to.
Nope.
So you just got to think the Bruins do have assets available to them.
They do.
But don't get all pee-pee poo-poo about it when they want to trade a first round pick to actually get you something. That's just it. Because then you're going to bitch when they miss the playoffs. But then you're going to be like, oh, well, now we have 2 first-round picks. You can't have your cake and eat it too, people. Pick which side you want to be on. I'm on the side of like trying to stay competitive and understanding that we also need to make business deals in order to make this team succeed.
And quite frankly, I am not overly confident in Don Sweeney's ability to draft first-round picks. He's missed out.
Look at his track record.
His track record for first-round picks, a lot of misses. A lot of misses, guys.
The only reason he picked James Higgins was because if he didn't, he would have been run out of Boston. I need people to realize that too. James Higgins fell onto that man's lap. And if he would have passed on it, people would have been screaming. That James Higgins, prior to, who was it, Schaefer, who's phenomenal, by the way, was touted as the potential first overall pick. A year prior to the draft. And he's still got some elite talent, playmaking. I've seen him play at BC. Holy shit. I could watch clean passing all day.
He's a great prospect. He's a great prospect. And if, again, you're absolutely right. If Don Sweeney didn't pick up the guy that fell onto his lap, he would have been run out of Boston. It would have been a fireable offense. Honestly. I even think Cam Neely knows that it would have been a fireable offense because he just missed out.
And not to mention, guys, some of the defensemen that they actually picked in the later rounds this past draft have been doing well. Vashek Blainhar looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're going to see how well it translates, but he looks pretty good. Like, you know what I mean? And people also need to realize, like, defensemen in the NHL tend to take longer to develop. And this is also, I guess, sort of a defensive low eye than forwards.
Yep.
That's just the way it is. But if I'm a GM and but if I'm a GM and I see a gaping hole in my team, what do you think my job is to do, Steve? Let it fester, like stand pat?
Fill the hole.
Fill the hole.
That's your job as a GM.
The hole. Yep.
You got to do your job.
I've seen some commentary, Steve, about the Bruins standing pat and doing nothing at the trade deadline, meaning that don't go buy. I'm assuming that's what they mean. I'm gonna propose addition by subtraction.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. We have assets. We do have assets. We need to. It would be foolish for Don Sweeney to not. Again, we are oversaturated at center. Do you like? I'm bringing this back to Matthew Poitras, right? You think with Higgins coming up, and you got Zaka, and you got Lindholm, you really
Minton, Kostelic, Corrali.
You're going to put Matty P on the fourth line. Sorry, it's just not going to work out. He's not a fourth line type of guy. He's not a grind line. It's the fact of the matter is sometimes things don't pan out in one city, and you need to be moved to a different team for you to succeed. And that's the case for Matthew Poitras. And
Jeffrey Viel beat out Matthew Poitras for a roster spot. Let that one sink in, people. Let that one sink in.
When's the last time he played?
He only played 10 games this season. But you want to know what, though? I will defend that decision because it's better to send Poitras down to Providence where you know he will play as opposed to just riding the pine up here in Boston. That I will defend. But just still think about that. Still something to think about. He couldn't beat out a guy like Jeffrey Viel.
Yeah.
He couldn't beat out Corrali, Kostelic, Jeannot.
I think those guys are on the lines that they're on, though, because of certain characteristics of their play. And I think that's taking away. I think that's an unfair comparison for Matthew Poitras. But what I'm saying is you have the asset that is, it's a pretty hot asset. A lot of teams need a good 3C, potentially grow into a 2C. That's a lot of teams need that. And Don Sweeney would be doing his job if he got rid of an asset that we aren't going to use and just it's not like it's gold and you put it away and you're safe and it's just going to increase in value eventually, right? That's not what it's like. You need to sell the assets when they're hot and you need to make moves to make your team better. So you're a fool if you think that keeping these guys is going to do anything for us. It's not. we need to capitalize on getting certain things in return, whether it be picks, whether it be, I don't know, a winger. Again, it's just one of those things where you need to work a deal and use the assets you got to make your team better. It's really that simple.
And I'll calm the storm by saying you can accomplish both. You can get good drafting this year because of the way of what you sold last year, and Brandon Carlo, Brad Marchand, and you know, a whole bunch of other things from last year. And obviously next year you can do some good drafting too with the 2 first-round picks that you have next year as well. But you can also make some acquisitions that do make you better. You can move, you have the capability to do so. And so navigate that. People are saying that, oh, this is a feel out year, seeing what the holes are and whatever else. Fine. You clearly know now what doesn't work. You need a right D. You need an LW1 or an LW2. Fine. Those are your holes. You know those are your holes. Fix them. Either I would much rather fill the LW hole through the draft than the right D.
I don't know. This draft for 2026, there's a lot of good defensemen coming up. So I don't know. It's one of those toss-ups. But again, for all those dumbasses that, oh, it's a feel-out year. We need to figure out what the holes are. We already know what the holes are right now. We've had enough sample size to know what we're missing and what we need to capitalize on. You wouldn't be doing your job if you know you need to fill something and you're not going to make moves to acquire it, even if it's for next year. That's the whole point. You're trying to evaluate as you go to make the best deal possible to get your team to be better. Yes, we all want to win a Stanley Cup right now. It's not likely we're going to win a Stanley Cup this year. Very, very unlikely.
Despite me betting on it.
Yeah, well, it's fine. But again, if you want to waste your money on a bet that probably won't pay out, whatever. That's you. It's your money, right? Do whatever you want with it. But the fact of the matter is, we know what the holes are. That we're feeling it out. We felt it out. We know what we need. Go do something about it. If not for this year, next year.
And this is not to say we don't love our listeners. We do, but also we want to bring a dose of reality to you guys as well, like to some of those who are just like so vehemently against, like, you know, trying to improve the team. It's like you got to have some give and take here. And it's not like we don't see anyone else's points either. We really do. We do. But it's also like you have to sacrifice a little bit as well to get this team where it needs to be. I'm done arguing about Rasmus Andersson because I'm going to throw up.
Me too. And again, I'm not unhappy about it. Again, to close it, I'm not unhappy about it. If the price was too high, Vegas overpaid. And guess what? We could be sitting here, right? Let's say we gave up all this shit. Now we're going to be talking about Boston Bruins overpaid. Everyone's going to be talking about it. Everyone's going to be complaining about it. Yeah. Okay. We're not the assholes.
It'd be more of a breakdown.
It'd be more of a breakdown. But again,
yeah,
it doesn't change the fact that we'll sit here and do these things. I'm okay with it. If we didn't lock him down for long term, okay, fine. But
I agree.
To all the people out there that don't realize how much of an impact this dude will have for your defense, it's like, come on. Like, I understand you guys, you're passionate fans, but let's be a little bit logical. Logic wins games. It just is what it is.
Well put, Steve. # we love our fans. Let's get quick prospect updates because I want to give it. And there's 2 that have really impressed me. James Higgins, 10 goals, 11 assists in 18 games played. I'm expecting him to sign a ZLC at the end of the year. That's just me. Dean Lecherno, 11 goals, 9 assists, 20 games played. Awesome, man. Like, he was touted as a project, and it's so nice to see that he's putting it together. I think he's a few years away, which is fine. I think he'll be a bottom 6 center. Could potentially be a Tage Thompson. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not throwing out. I'm not saying he's going to be before everyone ostracizes me and said, like, oh, you're stupid for suggesting it. He's going to be. No, I'm not saying that. I'm like just saying he's likely going to be a bottom 6er with potential. Maybe he can have a 2C ceiling.
Yeah.
But nothing higher. Maybe. We don't know. We haven't seen anything else with that.
Well,
He's just putting it together.
if you got Hagen's coming in, it's going to be real hard to beat him out if he turns out the way we're thinking he's going to be.
Right, but it's a good sign for Dean. It's a good sign. I'm just saying, it's a good sign.
And as a Boston Bruins fan, you should be happy because it's another solid prospect at the center position, which you're already oversaturated at, to dish out if you need to.
Yep. And who cares if he stays in Providence for the rest of his life? It's not like we'll trade him. It's not like we have a Fabian Lysell just down there for no reason whatsoever. I just can't let that go. By the way, I ran into someone that said Lysell has no value. He's a point per game player in the AHL right now. I'm not saying he's going to give you a first round pick, but he could get you a third. Like, don't say a player doesn't have value. Kid's 22 years old. Like, grow up. Will Moore, kind of disappointing. 3 goals, 5 assists, 18 games played. I kind of want to see how if he has next year, if he has like a Dean let you know response. I want to see that if that comes to fruition. And then one of my favorites, probably next to James, is Will Zellers. He had a great WJC. If you adjusted on a per game basis, he would have led in goals. He currently has 10 goals, 7 assists, and 10 goals, 7 assists in 21 games played with North Dakota. He may sign at the end of the season, knowing that the Bruins need help at the left wing, and Georgi Morkulov is 25, aging, so maybe they kind of get him going and seeing what Providence can do for him. He's a maybe, but the only definite I feel more confident on is James Hagen signing at the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super stoked about Zellers too. I mean, I brought this up with you a bunch of times. I was so excited to see that we got him in that trade. I'm so excited. He might need another year down in NCAA to cook up a little bit, and then go to Providence, which is okay because he's still wicked young. And it shows promise for the future, a couple of years out. It does.
Agreed.
So I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with a lot of things.
Yeah.
This team so far. No, those are just quick prospect updates, guys. Just so you know, if that are the most interesting right now. There's not much on Vasek Blanar or Cooper Simpson. There actually was one on Cooper Simpson. I believe he went to the boards hard. I believe today, came back out, scored a goal. So I mean that was good. So there's still some prospects that we're keeping an eye on as this goes. But obviously the ones right now, those were just the most interesting. Yeah. Major ones right now. Let's go into the Big Bad Bruins, Steve. Again, it's a good week. It was really hard to pick one.
It was
really hard to pick one. For myself, I did this more not in the past week, but because of the kind of crap he's gotten. And the hot and coldness with him, not his play, but with respect to how people feel about him. Jeremy Swayman. 4-1-0 in his last 5. Including the game he let up 6. He has a .914 save percentage and a 2.4 goals against average in that stretch. If you actually take away that 6-goal game, his numbers are really impressive. I just believe he's kept you in so many games this season than he's hurt you. And I wouldn't even attribute most of his losses because of him. I would say it's because you just didn't show up to play in front of him. He's had bad games. Don't get me wrong. He's had bad games. I can admit that. But I think Swayman, for all the hate that he got for signing that deal, I think he's earned every penny of it. And I think coming in the new year, I think he just deserves that credit.
That's a good one. And
tell me it's Marat.
It's not Marat. He's playing well. But to be honest with you, I'm going to give it to Pasta.
Okay. That's a good one.
He's on a point streak here for many games and putting up a lot of points. And he's just, even if it's just one of those things where he's willing this team to win. he's going out there every day to do what it takes to make sure he's putting up points and the goals sure are nice, but he's a part of the offense. He has a shit ton of assists. He's consistently getting other guys to score when he's being shut down. And
he had
his
6
play,
of them in that 10-2 win.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just one of those things where he's consistently going out there and playing out of his tree and making every single person around him better. And that's what leadership looks like.
For sure. Nope. I think it's a good pick. It was just, there were so many good ones. Like, this is a week where I'm actually content with picking a guy like Pasternak or Swayman, or the guys that, like, you expect to perform on your team, because you feel like they're making everyone else around them better. Pasternak, for one, I think he's making Marat better. Anyone that plays on that line with Pasternak, he's dishing them the puck as if he's Sidney Crosby making plays out of nowhere. It's just impressive to see how Pasternak's game has completely evolved. And he just goes, oh, you need me to shoot? I'll shoot. You need me to pass? I'm going to pass. You need me to do it all? I'm going to do it all. You know what I mean?
Whatever
it's just so Pasternak, whatever it takes. And I love that effort. So yeah, this week was it's going to the guys that I think that are keeping the team together. And I'm sure if Jack was here, he would also probably say Charlie McAvoy, who's played exceptionally well as of late. So
yes, he has,
despite having the bubble. So honestly, to all the leaders, I'm going to say to all the team's leaders that I would expect, the core that you would expect to build around. That's good. Congratulations to them. I'm not giving the horn because we didn't align on it. That's just, we're going to get the horn again. I promise. I love playing the fucking horn. Next week, we got 3 games. It's kind of a weird one. We're traveling to Dallas, and then we're traveling back here to play VGK, and then we have Montreal on Saturday. So the games are Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. We'll be in Dallas on Tuesday. We're going to host Vegas on Thursday. I'm going to boo the shit out of Anderson, and we're going to have a nice division rivalry against Montreal on Saturday. The games are 7:30, 7 and 7 respectively. And I have a loss win.
Respectable.
As much as I hate to say it, I just Dallas is just it's too well put together. Vegas just got better, and fuck Montreal.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Loss, win. It's
cool.
It just with the teams being hot and cold, right? I mean, you're going to run into really talented teams, and I just think that it's going to be one of those weeks where, the 6-game winning streak is going to have to be put to an end. You know what I mean? Especially running up against Dallas. That's a tough team to play. Vegas, again, has gotten better, but they played you pretty well last time. And I hate to say it, but they did get better. So I wouldn't be surprised if they pull that out. And again, fuck Montreal. So we need a little bit of vengeance for the last game we played against Montreal, because that was a shit show. We were in it, and then we weren't in it. So it's time for the boys to wake up and stick to their game and win.
Jack actually submitted his predictions to me.
Okay.
Which is, thank God, because he would have taken our picks with how we write the rules. If you're absent from the pod, the rules are you take the picks of the current leader. So we would have been able to do the horn, but thank God he did it. So we have some hope where we can, not stink. Jack has a loss against Dallas, a win against Vegas, and a win against Montreal. Okay. I don't hate the prediction of the win against Vegas. They're out Carter Hart right now. They're out Dorofeyev, I believe, because I was just looking and seeing some IR stuff. I don't know if it's true, so don't quote me on it. I don't know the full status of it. I don't hate it. I think it's a possibility with the way they played Vegas last time. However, a little weary. Just a little weary on it. Just a tad. Just a tad. Also, I'm just glad because whenever we pick the same things as Jack, it just seems to go poorly. Sorry, Jack, we love you. We shouldn't bully you when you're not here, but I just have to toss that out there. Hold on. One quick thing for Jack while he's not here, in honor of Jack's memory.
You just had to do it to him, didn't you?
He's going to kill me. He's going to kill me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, that's tonight's episode. Steve, do you have any thoughts before we close out?
Bruins fans, let's get back to logic here and stop being delusional. I can't take it anymore. Let's bear down, as they say. And let's
Cups
figure it out.
What he said. No, I just fuck Anderson, man. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for tonight. Go check out our website, don'tfuckwithmedia.com, for our blogs, and any of our other postings that we post up there. It's a whole bunch of content up on that website. Jamey and I write weekly blogs pretty much about anything NHL. I do write predominantly for the Bruins, but check out the other stuff as well. Don't forget to support that. Connect with us on Twitter, Bluesky, TikTok, YouTube, and just genuinely through our website. There is actually a function on our website where you can talk to us and contact us. It actually goes right to our email. We will respond to you mostly. For your, and just for your general thoughts on anything, your life, NHL, Bruins, NHL.
Do we have anything in the mailbag?
We have nothing in the mailbag this week. We might have it next week.
Okay.
So please send us some stuff. We love mail. We love to hear from you. Call us crazy.
Yeah,
call us assholes.
Tell me I'm delusional. Tell me I'm delusional and how your stance is all right. Please call me out on the bullshit, because I'd love to hear it.
Steve wants a fight, and we'll even invite you on so you can fight Steve, or you can even send us a voice memo. Guys, remember as always to like, comment, and subscribe to all of our platforms. And as always, we love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. And until next time, go Bruins.